trying to get into for software
Mute yourself. Mute the computer. Switch the audio off on the computer. The audio is audio.
Audio is audio.
So then you can just share your screen. Whatever slides you're presenting.
This side only, here only. Yeah.
Is there any audio? There's audio you can hear? Perfect. Yeah, that's working fine.
You grabbed my last name.
Maybe if you guys can occupy
Yeah, it's different. It's departure after using React for a number of years. It's very similar to Vue.js.
Are you sharing your screen? This third. Yeah, I think you can move this to that screen. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
That's all. It's fine. It's covered, right?
Okay, good afternoon, guys. My name is Raman, a PhD scholar in IDRPT. I am actually researching in this domain, like LP-WAN and IoT communication. And I'm a fifth year student, the final year right now. I will talk about what is LP-WAN, where it is used, what are the advantages, and why we actually talk about this. And later we will look on some software, tools, and codes which is available to everyone to make our own customized design or our protocols, whatever. So first, what is LP-WAN? It is a low power wide area network used for long range communication in IoT devices with less power consumption. We know these IoT devices, Internet of Things, those are comes with sensors and or actuators, which is using very limited power, and it can be used for many smart applications, smart agriculture, smart city, or even home monitoring. Anyway, so how these devices communicate each other or transfer their data, the sensor data or the pictures, camera images, how they actually transmit it. Nowadays, we can see those are actually connected to internet. That's why it is called Internet of. Those things are actually connected to internet. So, in a different perspective, if we think in a rural place or in a place where there is no internet connectivity or lack of internet connectivity, how these devices will operate, how they can transmit data from one point to another. So there we need some communication mechanism. Either it can be, if it is a connecting to internet, it can be a Wi-Fi or a cellular spectrum, whatever. So in some medium or some channel, through some channel, it has to reach a destination. This mechanism used for transferring our data. That is as simple as. And which does not require any internet connection or any backend support from any service provider. We can customize our design or customize our architecture, deploy these devices, and they can communicate each other. The specialty is this thing, long range communication. So if you think about Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, the range will be minimal. But these devices, especially I'm saying long range because it can transmit data up to more than 30 kilometers, one to one. So one to device 2, it can be 30 kilometers in line of sight, which if they are actually facing each other, if there is no obstacle. If there is any obstacle, as we know, the range may reduce. So the advantage is that at some point we will get some connectivity or we connect to directly the server or cloud, whatever, where this data is actually processing. So to make that connectivity, we need the minimum number of hops in between. So think about a scenario where we are connecting through cellular spectrum from our mobile phone to nearest cell tower to maybe another cell tower or to the ISP wherever. So the intermediate hops there will be multiple. So in this communication, the intermediate hops we can reduce, and the device will be like very small things. As one of our friends said, Raspberry Pi is working in that thing. So these are actually kind of Raspberry Pi is actually not a microcontroller. We can actually attach sensor and make to perform this kind of operations. So these devices comes with very limited processing capacity as we have seen. So these Raspberry devices or microcontroller boards, they can transmit without any without the help of any ISPs or any licensed spectrum. It is a free of cost. Not all the technologies I will explain later in further slides. There are different technologies comes under LPWAN stack. In that, some are open, so openly available. Some are licensed spectrum. So this is the basic architecture as I mentioned. These sensor devices transmitting to a gateway, then to network server or application. Here we are not talking about any service provider or subscription here. And the advantage comes here. The range of this is one technology actually, this LoRaWAN. There are other techniques also, Sigfox, LPIoT, narrowband IoT. There are multiple technologies comes under this LPWAN stack. So just consider this one WAN. The thing is, the bandwidth is low. They can actually transmit only limited size of packet at a time. That I will discuss later. But the range will be huge compared to other communication methods. Overview of the LPWAN technologies, LoRaWAN, Sigfox, NB-IoT mainly. There are other technologies also like ZigBee, but I have not included here. These are the main key technologies. In that you can see only these two are unlicensed. So anyone can buy those small chipset for data transmission. We can use it for our customers purpose. But this one, NB-IoT, NB-IoT comes with the license spectrum because it is using a license spectrum from our cellular technology because it is having a SIM card module. Using that SIM card only communicates each other. So this is least suggested in among this category, this NB-IoT. But if you have enough network coverage or cellular connectivity, you can go with this. So mainly we talk about these two, LoRaWAN and Sigfox. So both are looking similar. It has the encryption, looks security. Then the main feature is this one, message size. If you see, this is 256 bytes per packet, and this one only 12 bytes per packet. So as we know, this is mainly used for IoT communication. So the data size will be like small sensor data, small strings or some words only, not like streaming or high what we say high data usage application. This it won't support. It is just for IoT devices. So this data rate would be enough for that kind of applications. And the frequency band used, there are multiple frequency bands. So I have actually a set of hardware that we are using in our lab. I will show you that after this presentation. So that comes with all these modules, LoRaWAN, Sigfox, NB-IoT, these all modules we have. And I will show you a demonstration. Not demonstration, actually the openly available code for this LoRa line, because this is having the range up to 15 kilometer in rural, and this is only 10 kilometer in line of sight. And once we take a glance on this table, we'll know this is little bit having little bit advantage over the other LoRa. In case of message size, transmission range, then bandwidth also, it is having much better bandwidth compared to the second one. So among these three, we actually thought of going for my research. I thought of going with this stack. So next we will talk about the benefits, challenges, use cases, and what we can do more using that technology. So advantage, as I mentioned, that main advantage is the long coverage. Second thing, cost effective. This chipsets, as we know, it comes with around 400, 500 rupees only. And once we have that chipset, and we can connect with any microcontroller or Arduino board, we can actually make the deployment hardware. And the code, it is available open source. I will show you that. And the code we can take, and we can make applications or our customized smart monitoring or any smart things according to that. And since it is using long range, but and the message size is small, it can have a huge battery life, because battery life means it is the energy consumption it is using for data transmission, as well as making that device or sensor scalable. For that, we are not transmitting anything huge, only small bit of data. That is one advantage. Second thing is, but after transmitting a packet, this device actually go to sleep mode. And whenever it want to transmit a data, it will be changing mode from sleep to awake, transmit, then again go to sleep. This process actually helps to maintain a long battery life for this device. As we discussed benefit, there will be obviously challenges too. And first challenge, we discussed that data rate obviously is small. We cannot use for high data rate applications like downloading or streaming, or even call purpose. We can't use that. And the unlicensed spectrum, that is using in LoRaWAN and SIGFOSS, as we mentioned, the third one, LPIoT, using licensed spectrum come from our cellular network provider, but these two are using unlicensed. Since it is unlicensed, anyone can buy a chipset. We are using the same chipset of frequency. Suppose I am using this 433 megahertz frequency, and another chipset of same 433. I am transmitting some data. Suppose another researcher or another person doing the similar experiment with the similar chipset, the signals may get interfered, because both are using similar set of frequencies, and there is no dedicated channel for this unlicensed spectrum, because all are using all the available channels. In case if the spectrum matches, there will be interference. And the use cases, as I mentioned, there are many use cases. Any Internet of Things. And
Can I ask a question now?
yeah,
So usually with Wi-Fi also it's the same spectrum, but
yes,
so these aren't intelligent enough to be able to pick a channel that doesn't have interference.
right now there is no intelligence to pick up channels in that. It is using an open channel, only single channel. It is openly available for everyone.
Okay, so there's no question of multiple channels. There's
Yes.
just one single channel
Yes.
for the entire.
For the entire, whoever using the same chipset, it will be using the same channel. But some part we can actually reduce the interference by changing the frequency band. Even though I mentioned it is 433, the spectrum that supports the chipset, it will be ranging from 410 to 450. So if I change to 420, some other is using some 440. So the chance of interference will become less. But usually the what we say, the peak or what we can say, the performance, as per the performance basis, the 433 spectrum gives better. But still, even though we change the frequency band, there is a chance of interference because it is using only single channel.
Sure. Thank you.
And the integration with 5G or the emerging networks, that it's up to us as a researcher, as a developer. It is up to us what we want to design according to our application. And it may not be visible. These are the links to get that software and
That's okay. I think we can share them in the email
Okay.
later to all the participants.
okay, fine. So first one, as I mentioned, I am doing in LoRaWAN. I'm doing research in LoRaWAN. And first one, this is actually the Raspberry Pi module. Some of you, at least, I have known about it. Raspberry Pi module, and this is the small chipset. LoRaWAN module. I'll keep it here. Anyone can check it. And this link will directly show you how we can actually connect these devices. That is the motherboard actually used for running the code application, and the chipset used for transmitting the data. So these two we need to combine together and run some customized code according to our application. So the first link will give you all the libraries openly available and the operating system which we need to install in this Raspberry Pi. It is actually Linux based Raspbian OS. Then this is the imager, the link for imager, and same. This is a microcontroller Arduino. That also the IDE development environment is openly available. This is C++ based IDE. We can write CPP programs, and Raspberry Pi mainly this comes in Python libraries and the required code. So I can show you if I have time. Yeah. Sorry. This is the first link, and this done by a developer, and he posted in his open blog. It is available from 2019. It's about to connect the Raspberry Pi with the LoRa. This is the LoRa module, this small device, and how this connection has to be made. See here, it is actually like pins. The pins called GPIO pins, general purpose input output pins. So how we can map the transceiver module, transmitter plus receiver, that module pin to this Raspberry Pi, and diagrammatic representation. Then Arduino, similar microcontroller, how we can integrate with Arduino. The connection diagrams, this 3.3 should be mapped with 3.3 voltage, then another ground. This all reset module, reset pin. So this connection looks like this with antenna. And from here, the configuration starts. The libraries, the commands we can use for installing those libraries, and the
step-by-step procedure, all explained in this website. So if anyone want to use this LoRaWAN, this is especially for LoRaWAN, not the other technologies. So we can actually refer this blog, get these libraries downloaded like this. This is the main library, PyLoRa. This PyLoRa library actually having the dependencies and mainly if we say drivers in case of Windows. So similar kind of drivers or libraries supporting that transceiver module will be coming from this library if we install that. Then these are actually to enable the GPIO pins from, means there are actually pins. If you check the devices, you can see that. And this is the library where this module is actually available. This JIT repository by SX127X means any module having a family name 127, because we are using 1278 module, 1272 module is there, 1276 module is there. So all libraries comes with this link, and the source code also will be there. This is a sample output they are showing. See, this is the code. So this is the receiver code which is written for Raspberry Pi. It is completely in Python using the downloaded libraries. So all Python based code for Raspberry. And here in this demonstration, they have used receiver module in Raspberry Pi and transmitter module in Arduino. We can use both Arduino or both Raspberry. It's up to us. So, and transmitter code also will be there. Arduino, C++ code. Or you can download from here also. This link will be there. And we have a setup in our lab having Raspberry Pi transmitter, receiver, and we have actually used for customized program. Actually, I'm researching in security section of LPWAN. So we have accessed the security section. They mentioned AES 128 encryption. So we have tried different encryption algorithms, and we have developed our own algorithms. We have tested that. So especially the security perspective of LoRaWAN, in one word, my research topic. So we have developed algorithms and coded in Python, running testing in Raspberry Pis, and checking the time consumption, energy consumption for this encrypting the sensor data. And the receiver side, you have to decrypt it and gain the data, time consumption, without encryption, with encryption. So these kind of many testing we have done in this setup. And for Raspberry Pi, as I told, it is not a proper microcontroller. It is like a single board computer, we can say. It comes with RAM, motherboard, processor, everything it has. So it will be running with a OS. I told that Raspberry Pi OS, Raspbian. This Linux based OS that we can actually download from this second link, and the Arduino. If you want to work with the microcontroller, exact microcontroller module Arduino, it will be in the third link. And okay, only 2 more slides, I'll conclude. So first we have discussed what is LPWAN, then the different technologies used, NB-IoT, SIGFOX, LoRaWAN, the advantages, disadvantages, where it can be used, the specifications, features, then some libraries and source codes we have seen, and where it can be applied in future, like 5G sectors or emerging technologies like blockchain. So, as I mentioned, as a researcher, initially I was working in encryption
security level of this NP1 technologies. Later, when we moved to a blockchain project, so there actually we try to integrate this IoT and sensor network with the blockchain network. So any use case, any according to our wish, and the advantages we have seen the long range with limited power usage, very small setup, and libraries, source code, it is openly available. We just need to customize to our needs. Okay, that's it from my end. Any, yeah.
How active is LP1 space, and like you were talking about the issues of interference, especially with the non-licensed.
Yes.
Is this, and how can we, in like say 5 years, like will the space get really crowded and it will become a very very interfered?
That is a good question. Actually, comes with how what we actually do with this unlicensed.
Like, would you expect a hospital to be able to like implement their own plans and carefully check which data is being sent, which is not being sent? Just being, what's being computed by the model, or I usually work in a typical robot.
Okay, so I think the question is what this particular model should be.
Right, and make sure that it's not sending any data that it doesn't want to send. Make sure that it's safeguarding their patient's data.
So whatever data samples that model should, if there is something like a particular data on a particular disease, then the hospital can actually remove the data from the data set actually. Scared or against this particular thing. What data should we feed to the
Right, like from
yes,
this.
exactly.
What is there a limitation on what packages can be used to create the neural networks or the models itself? Because you said PyTorch and TensorFlow, they all have their own federated learning, but can I create models in those packages and then use them in Flower?
Okay, I'm sure. So this whether one client, this client number one, can be having
No. So all clients are using the same model, but can I use a model of my what model does Flower use?
okay,
Does it use TensorFlow? Does it use PyTorch?
okay. Yeah, good thing you have. Thank you. I should forgot that point. It can be anything. So PyTorch or TensorFlow support for both numbers. There is no limitation in that. As of now. Yes.
So the model that is contains all the metadata, right? So like, if there's a personal information or field of like location or like it's
No. The metadata, by metadata, that's not, for example, machine learning model, only the weights and just two numbers, some numbers. That's
Yeah.
yes.
Tensors.
Yes, tensor. That's the only information which has been shared. But not any data, no data.
And then, like Matt was saying, you can use whatever strategies to be able to collect all the weights and biases and then average them or then like basically put them different strategies of.
Yes, there are different strategies. The first technology which we take in, but there are better strategies also.
So, and then the is sent back to the client, right?
Yes.
But then, like, how big of a model does Flower support? Because like, the models can get pretty big. So,
Yes, last time I checked, Flower actually the analytical model. maybe not at the level of GPT abroad, maybe, but still, as I remember, I think they 7 billion model, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, not exactly sure on the number, but it was an error. And time, it may get bigger also. Please.
If you have seen recent news, like Nvidia got like the richest company because they are designing all training AI. If this thing was like easily adapted, in highly efficient hardware, you can just train it on your phone.
That's that's a really good question. And yes,
Thing I have in mind with respect to the same question.
Sorry, that's the last question.
Sorry. So a machine learning model needs a lot of data, right? So you can't be, like, you can't just use your mobile and then train it on based on like 1 GB data or something. It won't be enough for that to train. So it needs a lot of bigger sets of data or bigger sets of servers that have a lot of data, right? Rather than just thinking about like cheaper automated.
okay. So is the question on the limitations of our current mobility devices?
I'm thinking like, mobile devices cannot solve them. Right?
About the cost power and all that. Yes.
And the data.
Yes, and I'm with you. So maybe the device which I process, it has 8 GB, maybe 12 GB of RAM, and a compatibility of processor. But maybe the higher end variants are having 16 GB RAMs and good processors. So in those devices, it can be helped. And currently, this is a starting point of our development. As the time goes, these our devices will also evolve. Maybe in the future, there may come a device which can easily train our entire model. Okay.
Because they were saying like individual devices don't have enough data so that the model can actually do its job well. But I disagree with you because like a GB of data is sufficient, but it depends on what kind of problem you're trying to solve. Interestingly enough, the relevant thing here that I get to know about is there's a YouTube stream that is somehow getting linked.
Can you ask?
Anyways, so there's a company called Entake, which is an end-to-end photos, Google Photos alternative. They have, they don't have federated learning, but they have local machine learning. So they send you a machine learning model, it gets trained on your devices, on the device directly and not on the cloud. Because the photos are end-to-end encrypted, so they can't run the server, they can't do the training on the server. The model has to run on your device. And even if it's a few gigabytes of your images, it still does a damn good job of actually being able to do the classification. So I think the fundamental question is what kind of models can we use and what is that minimum threshold where the model starts doing its job sufficient. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, hi everyone, good evening. So before we go out for a short break, I just need to give a short introduction about IdeaBT. So IdeaBT, as you can see, is an Institute for Development and Research in Banking Technology. So it's an institute that was established by Reserve Bank of India back in '96, and with a vision of to be the premier and preferred research and development institution on banking and financial sector technology and its management. So it is also recognized as a CEO by DSIR, that's Government of India. And how many of you have heard of NPCI? So NPCI, UPI, NPCI. So that used to be a part of IDRBT, if I am correct, Radha ma'am. NPCI used to be a part of IDRBT before 2014. It moved out as a different organization. There are other organizations, you can Google it. IFTAS is there, and IDRBT is responsible for bundling a lot of banking technology. And I mean, whatever is there in India, almost everything was pioneered as part of initiatives taken by IDLBT. And the one that I wanted to talk about, what was it? Okay, yeah, I already spoke about it. Okay, and it also contributes to national digital mission initiatives of both the Reserve Bank of India and, of course, simultaneously the Government of India. And yeah, there are several areas of activities, like it was on research and development. There are several academic activities, training programs, and banking community initiatives. So, quickly on the research and development, there are 6 broad research centers and their corresponding labs. So, we have Center for AI and ML that consists of analytics labs and AI and ML lab. We have Center for Data Security, Privacy. We have emerging network, cloud computing technologies, 5G and IoT lab that I am part of, 5G and IoT lab. Other than that, there is cloud computing lab. We have Center for Open and Digital Banking that's available. Center for Quantum Computing, that is a recent center that came up last year itself. And then we have Center for Distributed Ledger Innovation. Shravan presented, so he is part of the digital currency lab. No, digital payments lab. So we have heard about digital payments, ILP one solution that he was talking about. We have other folks also. We have Sonam sitting there. She's part of the Center for Cyber Security and Data Privacy. She's working in the area of hardware security. And I mean, there are multiple people around. So, in this, now saying coming to the academic activities, so we do have collaboration with IIT Bombay, IIT Hyderabad, and University of Hyderabad, IIT Warangal. These are few institutes that currently house their PhD scholars at IIT. So I am from IIT Hyderabad. So as part of the collaboration between IIT Hyderabad and IIT, they offer a joint PhD with a focus on banking technology. Another program is called PGP-80. Previously it used to be called as PGP-T. Now it's part postgraduate diploma in applied technology. So all the centers that you saw, so you will be getting all this is open for all folks who have just completed BTech. This is a 1-year diploma program with an internship of about 3 months where you are based in several banking organizations, I mean banks of course. And we also have an EdTech in collaboration with University of Hyderabad in the area of information security. So yeah, that's all from my side. There are training programs for bank professionals. So there are EDPs, employee executive development programs that are conducted by the faculty members and the fellows who are working in IDLBT. And there are a few banking community initiatives. For example, there is a CISO forum. So how many of you know what is a CISO? Okay. So CISO forum are conducted at IDLBT. There are training programs, as I already mentioned. So this is broad, I mean, a very quick overview of IDLBT. So more details, if you wish to know, you can check out the website that's called IDLBT.ac.in. Where you get to see the exact details of the faculty members and the research areas and the training and the development that's happening at IDLBT. Okay, so that's all. Quick introduction from my side. Thank you.
Thanks, Arpit. Thanks, IDLBT, for hosting us again. We'll take a break. It's 4:50 now, so we'll try and meet again at 5:10 for
that's the innovation behind it. So you look at the studies that social language, marketing language stands for one, and we explain that one with all of the various systems. We will not have it. Obviously, we have given a fantastic payment system, but there are a lot of things where we don't have a good payment system. And usually is such payment system is completely open source, which is really nice. Can be again. People have a relationship or in the market. So, I think it's for accepting this proposal, and I do a pity for this for accepting and hosting this. It's actually a fantastic place, and I think the audience is very good because coming from this talk obviously belongs to the fintech space. But I see that there is intersection to many of the things we're talking about here. I think we have a section on security, and we also have anything development related. And obviously, I'm not a purist, but this is fully open source. So one of the criteria we have for development in this ecosystem is that it should be open source completely. As in, if someone wants to run it by themselves on a server, like let's say Kafka or database MySQL server, they should be able to do that and spin that up by themselves. Or if they want to take up a managed service, like whatever the cloud platforms, AWS, Azure, all those provide, then they should be able to do that as well. But the base should be an open source based solution. So like we use Kafka, MySQL. This is a Node.js based platform. I didn't want to start off with the text initially, but I wanted to give an overview. So in this slide, it's quite busy, but I would like for you to focus on just three things here: the big entity in the middle, and two boxes on either side. So these represent the two boxes on either side represent payment systems. Let's call it one as let's say State Bank of India, another one let's say the Punjab National Bank or some kind of wallet. Or we used to have Airtel mobile money. I don't know if it's still around, but yeah, let's say it's a mobile wallet. So the goal is that all of them need to make only one connection, a single connection to a switch. And then all the users get access and they should be able to pay to anyone else. So that was the motivation behind that. I don't want to go into too much detail today, but I will introduce some topics and leave aside some time for Q&A. And there, if you want to go into detail on any topic, we can do that. So obviously it looks busy because all of you here, at least it seems to me, are people, like we see telephones. We send a message, the person sending it, and we don't see the complexity or email. But the people who, like imagine a server and all the network connections behind it or a telephone, the people who are laying this groundwork are, I believe, it's people like us. So there is some complexity while we see develop and what's happening there. But the goal is to actually simplify the process of payment, like very user friendly, simple, quick, in the order of milliseconds. So that is what Mojul is about. And I want to talk about some principles at a high level. If anything sounds interesting, then we can go into that. I also would like to go through this component diagram. It looks quite busy, but I hope some of you can identify with some of these areas as well. So Mojulu is based on something called level 1 principles. So we want to replicate the behavior of cash. So cash, because people are very comfortable dealing with cash, because you get your money and no one can take it from your hands. I mean, not that it's not possible usually. So where the difference being that in a credit card system, for example, even without your explicit consent at that time for a particular transaction, money can be withdrawn. Whereas one of the fundamental principles we try to build this on is that user has to intentionally initiate a payment. So that's why push only is one of the principles. And some of them involve like same-day intraday settlement. That's for financial institutions. For those maybe in the financial domain, we appreciate that. We support like settling any number of seconds, like 15 seconds to intraday, because that brings different entities at the same level. Like if there's a huge bank like State Bank of India, and if there's a small microfinance institution in a village like Ram Panchayat, all of them essentially will be at the same level. We're increasing the transactability of institutions by settling quickly. And it's open route, we talked about that. It encourages a shared fraud and risk management system. There are some general principles it's based on. The goal is to make it easy and reliable for people, to improve the trust and to increase financial inclusion. So we talk about instant payment systems, like send money, receive money instantly. What Mojilo tries to advocate for is an inclusive instant payment system. Inclusive where a lot of people who are currently unbanked, like who cannot open bank accounts easily or who cannot transact easily, they can join the banking or the financial system. And also from an institution perspective, big institutions, small institutions, any kind of institutions can join as well. So inclusive in that sense. Coming to the technology side of things, Mojilo follows an API-led approach. So there is an API where you can send the transfers, you can find out information about people, you can ask for coding details, and it follows characteristics like idempotency. Messages are confidential. It uses several layers of security. We call it layered security, like 8 or 9 different layers, like transport layer, encryption, signature, those kind of things. And it uses JSON API based as well. And one interesting aspect that Mojilo uses is an asynchronous nature. So when you send in HTTP or HTTPS, when you send a request, usually in the synchronous messaging system, you get a response immediately. Whereas in Mojilo, what we do is, when a request is received, we only say that, okay, I got your request. They don't get the response yet, but they receive a call back yet. So this improves reliability because when we talk about a whole country where connectivity is not very good, in some cases they may not receive the response, or the synchronous means that you have to process the request immediately. So this removes that dependency and makes it more reliable and scalable. Clearing in real time, and we protect what we call critical path very carefully. So critical path is where someone initiates a payment, and then the other person receives the money. So that path is, we want to be very clinical in the approach that we do minimal number of things to enable that this transfer goes through in order of milliseconds. And even accounting for delays on the devices and things like that, it should happen within a second. And security is a big part of Mojilo. Obviously, any national scale payment system is heavy on security. So we have what we call a layered security approach, confidentiality, integrity of messages, security, follow several protocols. We actually have 3 or 4 layers of security that ensure that hop-to-hop security is ensured, but also end-to-end security, because non-retrievable as well. And of course, support regulatory requirements. Operational characteristics is we want to support running this very cost effectively. So because we are in India and we have UPI, we don't realize this, but there are still countries where their payment systems can use an upgrade. And a lot of countries are looking for alternatives. And Mojilo, all the components required for running a payment switch are there on Mojilo GitHub. So you can go to mojilo.io, and there is information on Mojilo, but also there is a GitHub organization where we have all the repositories. There is documentation on how you can run a demo version, then increase the quality to run a production-based system as well. On the tech side again, we made some design decisions initially. Obviously, the platform is free open source, so Mojilo itself is not the payment system. Mojilo is the ecosystem. So it has the code, the documents. There's a community as well. Like there are people who actively contribute. There's Mojilo Slack where you can join and ask questions. So all this is part of Mojilo, but it is not like a UPI system where it is a production system enabling payments, but any country or market can take it and deploy it for the country. So they can customize it, configure it, and run their system, and Mojilo enables that. So we use Node.js, TypeScript is preferred. And because we wanted to follow a microservice architecture, lightweight systems, operations, those kind of things, we use Kubernetes as the base level abstraction layer so that it can run on any platform. So it doesn't matter to us whether it is on-premise or AWS, Azure, GCP, IBM Cloud, anything. As long as you have Kubernetes on top of that using Helm charts, you can deploy Mojo. So the deployment itself is like a couple of steps once you have a Kubernetes cluster. And then we use Kafka for message streaming, and I'll show one diagram where you can look at how the message transmission and the processing looks like. And yeah, we use Kafka and MySQL we use for databases as well. There is a version variant called Cluster DB, MySQL Cluster Extra DB, and it has a master configuration where 3 instances are always active, or 3 or 5. We don't have like that active passive mode, but because this is financial grade data, we have different instances which are always active and have algorithms that ensure it. Like so I don't want to spend too much time on this. Please keep me on mind. But I want to show like here is the core of Mojo. So we have several different services. All these are core components. So there is one service that deals with incoming messages, validating them. There are messages. So this essentially runs a ledger inside the Mojo switch as well. So we saw the 3 component diagram earlier where there is a Mojo hub in between and 2 institutions on either side. And in that switch, all these components are running. Some of them are GitHub components that are not part of the switch, but the core services here are part of Mojo. Each has its own unique functionality. And when I show you a transfer architecture, we can identify like some of these. There are several supporting components. And these are not components, but show like different functions. For example, we have Helm for package manager. We have Helm charts, which offer configuration, which pull the different images and then deploy modular components. We have Kubernetes, Docker, and infrastructure options as well, AWS, Azure, on-prem. And we also have obviously the best practices in like continuous integration, continuous delivery. Whenever changes are made, they go through this stuff, checks like different checks like to make sure there are no vulnerabilities, no licensing issues. I think we can talk about that as well. So we have a set of licenses that are allowed, and we have a component that validates and makes sure that any new component that is being added is not outside of those allowed licenses. Because in open source system, it's easy to make that kind of mistakes where developers want to develop something, and there is a component they just quickly search, and we try to add that. So there are checks here to make sure that the licenses are compatible with Apache 2.0. Any questions so far?
Has it been deployed anywhere? Is any country using
So Rwanda, actually, I was telling you inside this now. So Rwanda is about to go live with it. I don't know if it is public yet, but they have been looking at Mojo for about a year and 2 years, 1 to 2 years.
So you have said KYC. KYC also has been included as part of this package.
KYC checks are done by the account holding institutions. So what we are saying there was to do tier KYC checks, so that at different levels, different KYC checks are in place. But that is delegated to the account holding institution. This is just the switch, and we don't want to do too much processing or handling of data that corresponds to end users, because that will involve like regulatory responsibilities and hurdles. Whereas banks and wallets, they have to do that anyway. If you are registering an account, you have to provide your KYC, so they have to.
This will be having its own efforts, or it will be making the efforts of the bank?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I should have clarified that. So modular switch.
Its own efforts. It will just connected to efforts
Exactly.
of different banks.
Yes. So only the banks will have what we call position and settlement accounts. Yes. Done in the switch. So there will be a settlement bank where funds will be done initially, like there will be liquidity. Similar, yeah. I think there was this idea that was initially Bill Gates wanted to do something in 2013. I had a timeline in this slides as well. And in 2016, a group of people came together, some tech companies.
Yeah, I think that I might have been through this.
Okay. Okay.
You, okay. So it's prepaid model, okay? It's just the switching part.
Yes, yeah,
One's responsible.
yes, exactly. There are a lot of things, obviously, but we don't deal with the end users directly. So only the accounts for banks or mobile network companies are present. And then each of the company has to deal with accounts of their users.
So since you are using Kubernetes, you said that you taken microservices architecture.
Yes.
So what is the database between these microservices here?
So we use several different databases, but primarily for ledgers, we use MySQL database currently.
Okay, each
But
function is created as one microservice.
yes, primarily. Yeah. Yeah, there are some intensive ones and there are some supporting companies, but depending on ideological perspective, yes. Each microservice has a unique functionality and it is scalable. So if we understand that, okay, one service is very lightweight and the functionality is very quick, then we don't need many numbers of those services. But if one service is taking a long time, we can deploy like 10 of those.
Started long term users, I remember.
Module?
Module.
Yeah. So the brand, like Modulo, was launched as open source in 2017. And so we actually have, I don't know if all the countries want to share that information publicly, but Tanzania recently shared that their underlying operating system called TIPS is based on Modulo. They took one of the initial versions of Modulo and adopted it, and I think they customized it to their needs and built on that. We even have some Southeast Asian countries who have deployed Modulo, but not at a national level, but I think alongside existing switches as well. Thank you.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on what do you mean by the switch here?
So Modulo switch, actually, again, good question. So the switch is, let me go to this, let me see this works. So here, this is what I mean switch. So the boundary within that, it looks brown here. So that is
basically taking information from one party and giving to another party.
and it maintains a ledger. Like
What
it's-
information is passed between these two parties, it maintains that information.
And who owns this switch? Let's say countries leverage this technology. Is it the government?
So every country has its own model, but usually there is a central bank or a reserve bank in the country which is affiliated with the government. Sometimes they have their own IT or tech team, so they run it. Sometimes they outsource it to another tech company who does the technology and they the requirements for it. So this is the switch, and this is responsible for running the software and setting the rules and the configuration and onboarding the bank's
Only account-based transactions you do, or you do any PayPal or credit card, debit card, internet banking, not all those things.
Yeah, credit card, debit card, I wouldn't say we support that, but for the software itself, as you said, rightly, it's an accounting. Yeah. So as long as the edges and the regulatory support is there, yeah.
You see, there's few days, I mean, so far all you have completed majority of the, where this foundation is, I mean, model of.
So Modulo Foundation is registered in the US, we don't have any entity in India. So we have two people from our foundation in India. One big guy in India. We are involved.
So you're from where?
I'm from Hyderabad.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be seeing a lot more of Samuel and in our community.
Okay.
We can come from India, so.
And you just represent Modulo only or any other company also?
Just Modulo. I'm a full-time.
Full-time Modulo. Okay.
Thank you.
Since you're in Hyderabad, we can be in touch with you.
Definitely.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I'll discuss
Sorry.
with my mom.
Sorry for the. Took more time than. So I like to talk about Modulo a lot. It's one time I talked about it for 3 days. So I was wondering how to in 20 minutes.
There are many extras, right? They actually get back to
Now, should I start? Hi everyone, good good evening. My name is Lakshmi. I'm working as a lead compliance expert in Siemens from last 7 years. Don't scare the pictures. This is my team who sits in Bangalore, and we have another team in Pune as well. So total 55 members, which takes care of all the compliance related issue of the entire Siemens, not in India, Germany, US, Brazil, and all areas where we have the development happens. So basically, the topic is supply security about SBOM, SOT, and the open chain drive, how it drives compliance actually. So before we proceed, so this is what I want to cover today. So before that, all of you are developers, so you might think why I need this compliance, right? So basically, this is a basic thing that you need to do. For example, I might share you a scenario. So I've been working with FIFA World Cup project for Dubai and the Neom Smart City project. So one of the developer, he has developed a very good feature for that security related issue that we need to take care of it. And he used one open source library which is available in NPM and GitHub. You might have heard MMCB, right? And it was licensed actually on Apache 2.0, which is a permissive license. It won't be a problem, right? So what he does that he didn't check at the initial stage. We did all the development and everything, and they came at the very last moment just to see okay that everything is done. As a Siemens, we need to do the compliance check, right? When we checked, the global license was Apache, but there is two particular file which says that we cannot use it for commercial distribution, and this was from NVIDIA, right? So what we have to do, just the very last moment, we thought of removing those files, but when we did a testing, that feature didn't work. Right? So what they did is, okay, let's just talk to NVIDIA if we can fix it on the ground level. So both the lawyers have sat and just to discuss it. But they said, yeah, you can go ahead and use it, but you have to use our NVIDIA logo in that, in which Siemens was not okay with it, right? So what they have to do is they had to drop the use case scenario at that point of time. So that's the one case like you have to do a check. Why? Because the license obligation, if there is anything or license compliance related issue that will happen.
That these two files are the previous file. How did you, what kind of scanner did that kind of?
Yes, we have an open source tool for Zoology, which do the scan of the entire code. It will give a license details of each and individual for Zoology. For Zoology, yeah, it is open source. So you can scan it. It will give all the each individual file which will have a license header with the copyright author name and the license details. It will say, and it has a license database as well, and it will show the obligations if there is anything that needs to be taken care of. If there is a restricted license, it will say no, risk level is 5. Guys, you need to go and check, right? So we did that, and at a point of time, you have to drop that use case scenario. So that is one scenario which you have to do a compliance with because of the license thing. Second is this security vulnerability check. Okay, you guys might have heard about this cloud strike that happened in July, right? So entire thing was down. Why? Because there is a security patch that they haven't taken care of, right? The same scenario happened in previously as well in 2020. So this is something like the basic how supply chain security works and how exactly they can manipulate your code. So they don't directly attack your network. They will see the library, the third party library which is not developing. You guys are not developing. You are taking from the open source repository which has a loophole or a security issue. They might keep that as a I can say target point, right? That is what happened. And the most, I think the previously one, what happened is SolarWind. I think you guys might have heard it. It was like around 18,000 official, but 36,000 customer has been impacted because what they did is, and it ran for almost 1 year, from November to December, nobody even got to know about it. And the security agency who did it, FireEye, even their security systems and all, everything was compromised by that time. And what they suspect is the group that they did is it was from Microsoft, but at the end of the system, even Microsoft was also as a target audience for this, right? So what they did is If you see what it is, there is one third party library. They just took a loophole for that. They keep a target, just enter your system and they just access all the data of the customers in the end party and even the extended parties and the companies that were linked to it. Deloitte and all these people were affected. So these are the two main reasons why I should say you have to do a check. Okay. After that, one thing came to very prominent, that is SBOM, which is supply bill of materials. What happens after that log 4J issue also? So what they did is, and this is the best practice. I don't want to go deep into that. So every product, so according to a US, White House Order 14028, so every product what you are giving outside to the customer, or it is going as a product according to your company, every product should have a SBOM in place. All the components with the dependencies and the relationship should be defined properly in that. So if there is a bug in any of the component, that we can just go to the SBOM and we can check and get it fixed, which was not earlier available, right? So SBOM, everybody know it is an inventory. Your package.json file have all the information, right? All the dependencies, licenses, and everything is mentioned there. And this is a mandatory check now for each and every product that you are releasing to your market. So all the components, not only the first level of dependency, all the transitive dependency till the nth level, everything should be there with the proper versions, licensing condition, and the links from where you have taken the source code. Okay. So this is the base for this. I can say the SBOM. And the guidelines, you can see Executive Order 14028 and everything, Cyber Resilience Act, all of things are in place. It is like, you can say it's a mandate, not only in European market, it's in India as well. So how can you actually achieve it? So the main thing is open chain, which is an international standard actually. Siemens is already compliant to it. It is not that difficult. What they maintain is these two ISO standards actually, 523018974. First one I talked about the license compliance, the checks and everything. Second one is the security issues or vulnerability check. So for all these two, what you need as again as SBOM, everything should be properly mentioned, and they have their protocol in place. So if you just want to do a check that your company needs to be open chain compliant, they have 4 page of document or a checklist. You can just do it by yourself. So they ask few questions whether this document is ready, whether do you have specific team who can do these checks, do you have all the guidelines, the company policies ready, lawyers are in place, everything is there. If you have all the document in place, then only you can be open chain compliant. And Toyota was the first company actually to be open chain compliant. Siemens, Microsoft, and all these people are following this. So basically, they have to have a open source program office, which is like you need to handle all this open source related topic, whether how you want to maintain, how you want to contribute back, right? Because if I'm using something where I have to open my entire code to the community, any company won't be okay with that, right? So all this text needs to be done. So that's why the standard needs to be maintained. So for that, we have a checklist that any company or any institution can go ahead and do it. Okay. So you can see what all the basic thing that you have to do is this license compliance process should be in place, roles and responsibility should be there, and sustainability as well. Every person, like if I'm working as a lead compliance, so my roles and responsibilities fixed. I need to check the final check. SBOM should be in proper place because all the obligations and the risks that we check with the project team and we sign the document. If something comes up tomorrow, I'll be held responsible for that. How I allowed those files to be used. Okay, so all the roles and responsibilities should be maintained properly in that. And what happens if we don't comply? Simple. It's very simple. First of all, the license infringement. Basically, most thing happened on the copyright side, right? There was I think we used one component. We missed one contributor's name in that. The read new access to the legal document. You might have seen in the phone about, for instance, the open source license, right? All the documents, that is the legal notice filed for that app. You missed one person and he sued the company. it's not a small amount, right? It's in billion dollars. So yes, first thing, impression do matters. If you are doing something wrong, it is your organization or institute that will be held responsible. There is one product I was working for, EV charging. So the product was in market for the last 7 years. But what they did is, there is one critical license. They just said that point of time, yes, we'll just share our code to the public. Later point of time, they said, we can't do that. They had to stop the release or the product release to the market. Whatever they have in the market, they had to withdraw it. They again just changed to the core and everything, the component, library packages, everything has been changed. Again, the compliance check has been done. Then they again launched to the market that EV charging thing, and it is now working fine, right? So lot these things has been checked. It's not only the licensing, all the copyright of the ECC check, in which jurisdiction you can use it, where you can't, the patent related thing, everything gets checked in if you are this open chain compliant, and you just need to take care of these tools and everything. And this is the obligation part I talked about. And this is something you can say it is after the 2004 amendment, after things came into place for the government of India, like all the cyber security related issues, right? Those things are there. This team, the emergency response team, these people are there. They take care of it. Okay, all these things like if there is, I think there was a number I forgot about it. So they see what all tags are there. There is action item, what needs to be done. If there is a patch that needs to be done, or whether you want to change the entire library and everything, all these things, cyber security related things, will be taken care of by them. And the next, sorry, I'm running late. So this is something, a basic workflow that we follow in Siemens, just to make sure that we don't miss out anything. You can see the two parts, that is third-party software clearing and code auditing. Third party is something that you are not developing. It is like you are taking from GitHub, NPM, and everywhere, even from ChatGPT, you are just taking some codes, right? That also we scan, but that goes to the other tools. So both the functions have different tools that we use. For the license check that I said, it is we check for Fossology and SW360, which is a project catalog. It has all the information, all the SBOM will be listed out, and the Fossology will scan everything on the third-party code. Even Angular, if there is a version change also from Angular, suppose 16.00 to 16.01, again we scan. We don't scan the entire packet, we scan, there's a delta scanning actually, it will just cover the older scan, and only the new files will have the information, and we just check whether there is any false positive, or there is any critical file. Even we scan the containers too. Okay. We use star, we get the SBOM of the list of components, we scan the entire component. You might have seen some containers will have 800, 900 underlying components in different layers, right? You will scan each and every component with file level. Even Linux having 1 lakh file, we scan, just to make sure that you don't miss out any license information. Second is code auditing, that is something that you develop at your own organization. We use Flutter just to do a snippet match from where it is, we have copied the code and everything. So that we're doing code auditing. So basically, we try to cover like whatever we are developing in that function. And this is where we know, okay, this is the list of third party I'm using from the open source. Code auditing a pattern has a function that it will also give you the SBOM list. If I'm missing out anything, that library I'll get in that code auditing part as well. So we make sure, okay, all the third-party libraries, whatever you're using, with the nth level dependency, everything is scanned, all the licenses and obligations are in place, and you are now 100% compliance. We'll sign the report, and the legal or the AWS document will be given back to the customer or the project team. They will embed it in that code and they'll give it to the customer back. Okay. So this is the basic workflow, just like software clearing. Exactly like the vendor from where you get the software. When the vendor changes, sometimes even the license also gets changed, right? And how the component is licensed, and we check if there is a license change as well, like Terraform and everything, the license has been changed, right? We just check all the versions the license should be in place and how it is being used. Okay, it's not like if it is I can say restricted license, you cannot use it. There's nothing like it. It is for. Sorry? Yes.
The Terraform license was
Licensed.
changed. So the license change, after the license change happened, it got 4 to 5 Linux foundations. And it is now called Open Tofu. Right? Like
Yeah,
there's an
yeah.
Open
Open
Tofu.
Tofu, yes.
Yeah, the fork is called Open Tofu. Open Tofu has the same license as the old Terraform. The old Terraform now has a new license which is more restricted.
New license is just code available if you want, otherwise you can use free.
No, it is like a kind of it is unlicensed under business source license. BSL. So it is like a more of a commercial version actually. Yes.
I thought it is just code available if you want, maybe you code, otherwise it will be free only. You can use the libraries, but if you want code, you have to specifically request for it.
No, that is there, but you have to take the subscription for it. It is not that open, just like how it was earlier NPL 1.0. So it is not that open, just like how.
So a lot of people are leaving Terraform and then are using
Open Tofu now.
Because the license is more
Yes.
acceptable.
And just like I said, the obligation, and if there is any risk related to copyright and security, that gets we take care in the software clearing part and auditing part. Just like we use Black Duck, all this snippet match and the direct transitive dependency and everything. And if you have, I just like I explained, if you missed out any component, just to know your SBOM also, you can use it. The Black Duck tool for it. So this is the basically 2 tools we use just to make sure that everything is in place. So this is more or less why compliance is needed, what tools we use, and if you want to be compliant enough in your organization, what all specification and certifications you need to follow. So I think that's all from my side. Thank you. Any questions?
No, I think you guys have seen this news that recently came out saying that Google recently 25% of new code that they are using is released by AI, and generally everywhere it's the same thing going on. Like everyone is pushing everyone to use AI generated code and all. So how does that fit into place? Because if you ask ChatGPT or Claude or any LLM bot to generate a code, it will give you the code, but even it doesn't know where it is getting it from. So how does that fit into this policies?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So what happens, there is no proper guideline from, I can say the act or something from government how to use this AI-generated code, but there is a specific guideline, okay? And this, I can say, differs from organization to organization. What Siemens to have, they have an agreement with Copilot. People copy paste from that. And there is a guideline, what they need to say is, if you're writing something, just give a write, AI-generated code start, AI-generated code end, it should be there. But when you check in the Black Duck, trust me, we missed out a lot of time where generated code. It doesn't give a proper match as of now. Sometimes, like for example, if I'm copying the code, I remove the license header, the copyright header. It's very difficult to know from where exactly I have copied it from, right? So that's why it is like company specific. There is a specific guideline that you need to follow. But for some instances, the Black Duck gave a match that this can be copied from this repository, just have a check. Maybe 30% match or 40% match, you can go ahead and check, but trust me, till now it is not 100% check for generated code. And there is no proper guideline or act as of now how to deal with this area. It is still a gray area.
I have one follow-up question. So, if I am a company, I don't want to deal with all of this. So, I remember in college we had plagiarism checkers. So, we used to dump anything and then get plagiarism checkers to generate something and then change it around so that it gets into zero. What if a company, like it sounds like someone doesn't care about this and they can just jump through the whole problem saying we have generated the code and we have changed it enough that it doesn't give the percentage so that they have completely skipped over this problem.
Look, I'll tell you. First of all, still, I'll tell you, this is still a gray area. There is nothing clear guideline as such. But what will happen? most of the thing you will just end up in copyright infringement or somebody will sue you on copyright thing. But still you have a time frame just to fix it if somebody finds out that. But if still there is no proper tool, I think I checked that as one tool I forgot actually. We are just scanning the agent code right now. I'll just tell you later point of time. I forgot it's there in the catalog. So it actually scans, but still no information. It just give a match. Okay, it is a license of NPL Apache. License information it gives, but not the exact. I can say the vendor or the origination of that code actually. So nothing as of now. Maybe if it's starting to have it.
So this is a very gray area.
Yeah.
There is an active ongoing case in the US right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, copyright.
There are a bunch of people who are open source creators and members of the open source community who are suing OpenAI and other AI firms that are putting out LLM, saying nobody gave you the freedom to scrape all of these things and then use them as a training data to be able to build your own LLMs, especially because you're not paying anyone royalties or anything like that. So there are actually not one, multiple different cases. There are other cases where people.
I got it out when they are taking from open source, who will speak on behalf of open source or who will sue on behalf of open source?
I can sue on behalf of So this is fundamentally because everyone has the license to be able to use certain things. So for example, if somebody is violating an Indian government act, it's not only Indian government who can go and sue. I can also file a case on behalf of Indian government saying those people are breaking the law. I am trying to file a case against them breaking the law. So the same.
When you say open source, you are saying you are free to use in any form, right?
So there are restrictions depending on the specific license. So for example, with GPL license, if you make modification, you have to release modification. At least with normal open source licenses like MIT license and those things, you have to give recognition.
Yeah.
So with LLMs, recognition goes out of the window. Recognition completely goes out of the window. So I think all of those questions are happening right now. Because for example, fundamentally copyright, all of this ends up at copyright infringement, which is what we talked about. So there are people, there's a very popular case of someone who committed like suicide because he was being sued for copyright infringement. Because he downloaded publicly available papers. And now all of the LLM industry is doing exactly the same thing. But now they're saying, no, this is not acceptable, why should this not be acceptable?
That's the case of parents also.
Yeah.
That's a great
So there are a lot of you'll see again later, Sami. So yeah. So there are a lot of copyright infringement issues that we need to resolve. And fundamentally, the open source community people are saying, look, you are taking this, you are making money from this, you're not even telling people like where you got this information from. There is no clarity on like any of those things. So like we need to talk about this so that we can actually reach some decision. And fundamentally, all of those people are now making billions of dollars on at the end of the day free work. And you're not even giving back to the community. It's capitalism.
Right, democracy, many people, they want, but very few people take advice.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. This was